Kitco Mining special coverage of the Mining Investment Event of the North is brought to you by EMX Royalty Corp.
West Red Lake Gold Mines has attracted a team of industry hitters such as Duncan Middlemas and Frank Juster. So what's the attraction? I'm with Gwen Preston. She is VP Investor Relations. Gwen, welcome to Kitco.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us, what is the opportunity at West Red Lake Gold Mines?
Well, it's a question that I'm very used to answering right now because I just started in this role.
Congratulations, I should have said.
Thank you, yes. So I closed up a business that I'd been running for 10 years, which was about finding the best investment opportunities in the mining space to help retail investors, find those. And I closed that up to join this team. And the reason I did that was I came across the stock when it debuted, really, which was in the middle of last year, when this group of heavy hitters, as you say, seized upon the opportunity to buy the Madsen mine. Madsen mine in Red Lake, Ontario. People will be familiar with the name, likely, because this was the PureGold story. So PureGold bought this asset in 2016. It was a historic mine. It ran for 40 years, from the 30s to the 70s. That was its first phase of life. Then PureGold used that time, 2016 to about 2022, to drill it, do a feasibility study, permit it, and build the mine. And they ran that mine for about 14 months, but there was a combination of things that meant that the mine failed. So it went into bankruptcy after only 14 months, and then West Red Lake, the group that I'm with, saw that as an opportunity. And the reason that it's an opportunity is because the things that caused the mine to fail are fixable things. And so we can talk about that, but it comes down to that management group they were more of a junior management group. They had some amazing successes selling assets onto acquirers, but those were earlier stage assets. They were resource growth, they were preliminary economic assessment, like early mine planning, that stage of asset. This is building a mine. Building a mine requires deep experience, and they didn't really have that on board at PureGold. They really wanted to sell the asset. And that was a reasonable premise because the Red Lake District was hot with M&A when this was happening. This was Great Bear, up and coming and attracting a lot of attention. Evolution had just bought the Red Lake mine down the road. There were lots of deals, lots of eyes focused on Red Lake, and the Madsen mine was easy to showcase as the next high-grade Canadian gold mine. And lots of companies were interested, and they almost transacted, but it turns out that PureGold did almost too good a job marketing it. The share price got too high, the potential acquirers lost interest, then they had to finish building the mine and run it. But they had built it on too small a budget and without enough experience. And so that meant that things didn't go as well as they could have. They didn't use the right mining method, so they were diluting the ore that they were pulling out of the ground. They started mining in an area where they had only drilled it to sort of 15 to 20 meter spacings. This is Red Lake. The veins are narrow. You need 6 meter spacing if you want to have good control of your ore body. So they didn't have good control of the ore body. They weren't mining it well. Those things together mean that they were bringing rock to the mill that graded 3 grams instead of 8 grams. That isn't going to play well when you're trying to start up a mine or run a mine. They kicked a lot of costs into operating instead of construction capital. So they leased everything. They leased the primary crusher for the mill. They leased every building on site. Their operating costs, therefore, were way higher. So the grade was low. The operating costs were high. COVID layered on top of it. That did not help them. And at the end of the day, the mine failed. But the things that didn't work in that phase for PureGold, those are fixable things. We're drilling this thing to 6 meter spacing. We have good control of the ore body with a new geologic model. We're starting a test mining program so that we can make sure we do use the right mining method. There's efficiencies that we're introducing into the flow of the underground mine. We're building a camp. We're buying a primary crusher. These are the things that we're doing so that our operating costs are what they should be. The grade coming to the mill should be as planned instead of dramatically diluted. The gold that's there is good gold. And there's lots of opportunity, we think, to find more of it. We just need to get this good opportunity back into production. And we have the team now at West Red Lake to do that. Like you say, heavy hitters on the board, Tony McCooch, Duncan Middlemist, these guys know Red Lake. They have built mines with great success. Frank Justra providing immense capital support, opening doors, attracting a lot of attention to the story. And then a management team led by Shane Williams, who have built lots of mines with great success. Shane Williams on his own is I'm really proud to be working with him because he has had such a demonstrated track record of success building mines. So they're the team to fix what went wrong, and we're in the process of doing that.
I want to talk about the steps that you're going to be taking at West Red Lake, but let's frame a little bit more about where you're situated and why it is a storied region right now. So what is Red Lake? Why is it important? And I believe that you have some major operations that surround the operation.
Absolutely. So Red Lake is one of the famous high-grade gold districts in Canada. It's on the western side of Ontario, which is, of course, a really wide province. So it's really closer to Winnipeg than Toronto for anybody who's thinking of a map of Canada. And Red Lake is, the Red Lake mine, that's what we think of it now. There's a few mines that sort of make up that complex. The Red Lake mine is the mine that made Goldcorp into the company that it is. So this was a mine that started, and it was, a reasonable...
Goldcorp that eventually became Newmont.
Exactly, that is now Newmont. Yeah. But, this is a mine that was underground, mining 50,000 ounces a year, doing a good job, high-grade, small underground operation. Then they found what they call the high-grade zone, which was deeper, and it was in a slightly different rock package where the fluids had come up and sort of pooled in softer rocks because it wasn't able to break through into the more brittle rocks above, the harder rocks above. That high-grade zone, once they got in there and started mining that thing, the ounce count out of the mine annually went up tenfold, from 50 to 500,000 ounces for a period. That created Goldcorp as the major mining company that it was in Canada. That's the kind of storied history that Red Lake has. There's been, I can't remember, 200 million ounces of gold pulled out of the ground in Red Lake. It's a really prolific district with very high-grade gold. And it's really exciting to be working there because that Red Lake mine, they're mining down to 3,000 meters. Our mine goes down to 1,200 meters, and we have hits down lower that suggest very good potential for, like at the Red Lake mine, for the Madsen mine mineralization to continue down, to perhaps get richer at depth, and for this mine to have a long life ahead of it of good scale. But you got to get down there and be operating down there before you really have a good chance to look around. And so that we're excited to do that on an exploration front.
Now, I think in this business, it's the person that has a second hit at it is actually going to have the success. Maybe talk a bit about the team that's there, the Duncan Middlemist, talk about Shane. Who are these people, and what's your track record for doing this type of thing?
Absolutely. So Shane is a really important starting point of
Shane,
this.
Of course, is the CEO.
Shane is the president and CEO.
Yeah.
He has a long history. He started with the Lundin Group of companies, building mines around the world. Then he spent a big chunk of time with Eldorado. He built mines in Greece. He built mines in Turkey. Then Eldorado needed to pivot, so they bought the Lamaque asset in Quebec. And that was kind of similar to Madsen. It was Integra had done a lot of work to turn an old asset around. And then Eldorado bought out Integra. And over an 18-month period, Shane led the charge to put that mine into production. So similar, let's figure out what is good, what is bad, what needs to be changed in this plan, and let's put this thing into production, making sure we have good control of the underground, of the ore body here. Let's make sure we know it. Let's make sure we're mining it appropriately. And now, in that mine, that Lamaque mine has provided positive surprise as an asset for Eldorado for quarter over quarter. Like, it's a really well operating mine. So Shane has a very impressive track record of success, building mines, starting as a GM for underground operations and working his way up through to building mines. And then because he's the CEO, president and CEO, and left his previous job to come and run this company, and because he's backed by Frank, who of course is known for having done exactly this before. The companies that Frank has built in previous gold markets, they similarly started with an asset like Madsen, that they could get into production. That wasn't a huge asset. It wasn't going to produce 200,000 ounces of gold, but it's a stepping stone. You start with this, and then you get another asset, and you get another asset. And that's what Frank has done multiple times over his career, over sort of a 5 to 7 year period. And so that backing, it makes it clear that Frank sees that potential in West Red Lake, starting with Madsen under Shane Williams. And so when you have that partnership going on, you can attract really good people to your team. So yes, on the board we have Tony McCooch, who led Kirkland Lake to great success before being taken out. We have Duncan Middlemiss, West Dome fame, lots of other successes to his name. They know Red Lake Gold. They know how to build and operate mines. So a huge depth of operating experience there. And then the team that Shane has built, he has specifically found people right in the middle of their career. So lots of experience, like, the 15 to 25 maybe years of experience getting up through the ranks. Think of Will Robinson, you think of Maurice Mostart, that's our VP of Exploration and VP of Technical Services. They both have lots of experience, but they also have lots of years left ahead in their career. And Shane's building that team specifically because he and Frank, the vision here is to build a new Canadian gold mining company. So you got to have runway in your team. You can't be at the end of your career if you have a 7 to 10 year plan to build a major gold mining company. So a middle career team with lots of experience and a huge amount of guidance from the board that's very experienced, lots of energy, lots of determination to make this thing happen. And yeah, it's a really exciting group to be part of. And it's part of the Fiore group as a whole, where there's a bunch of other companies and really creative minds, good capital markets ideas coming around. So yeah, it's a really dynamic, informed group.
Lastly, Gwen, milestones over the next 12 months. I believe that, and also I think later in this decade, is that I don't think production is that far off.
No, production. So our goal is to have this mine turned on in the second half of next year. And to get there, there's the usual path to turning a mine on, which is, resource studies, permitting, feasibility study, engineering, or feasibility study, finance, start construction, then turn it on. We're doing things all in parallel instead of sequentially. And that's because a huge amount of this mine is already built. We have an 800 ton per day mill that is really a great facility. Few little tweaks needed, but mostly an ideal facility. We don't need to build that. The underground mine, largely built. There's a shaft, there's 2 declines. We need to do a connection drift to connect the 2 sides of the mine. And we have 100 people on site right now because we're doing ongoing development to make new drill stations, to slash out some areas so they're wider. But a huge amount of the capital that needs to go into building a mine and the time it's already been done. It's already been spent. Tailings facility is already there. The permits are already there. So over the next year, we are going to do the critical path items that are needed so that we can turn this mine back on. About halfway through that year, so at the beginning of 2025, 6 months from now, we'll issue a pre-feasibility study that puts in that technical document the exact numbers, the plan. Then we can talk about, what the ounces we're going to produce each year and what the costs are. But we won't start the work after that document. The work will be happening as we prepare that document. So by the time it comes out, most of the work will be done and the restart decision will be pretty close.
Gwen, thanks for speaking with Kitco.
Thank you so much for having me.
My name is Michael McRae here at the Mining Investment Event of the North on behalf of Kitco Mining.
Kitco Mining special coverage of the Mining Investment Event of the North is brought to you by EMX Royalty Corp.